Oh, hey, Ida. I didn't see that.
All right, welcome everybody to City Council meeting for Monday, January 13th, 2025. If we could have a roll call, Madam Clerk, to establish quorum.
David Avanzino,
Present.
Steve Holofield,
Here.
Harry Meyer,
Here.
Susan Gruning,
Here.
Terry McClung.
I'm here.
All right, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. The only item that I have is Drexy Rogers is in the hospital in Little Rock, and she won't be here, so I'd like to defer that till our next meeting.
Which one's that?
Number 4.
Number 4, item number 4. Does anybody have anything else? If not,
To add to the agenda?
Huh?
To add to the agenda?
I'm sorry.
Can I add to the agenda?
If the council wants to.
Can I motion to add the permanent entertainment district discussion?
Yeah. If you get a second, I think we need a
Anybody
second. on it.
second?
Second.
All right. Under new business. Yeah. Entertainment district. Item number 6. All right, all those in favor of the agenda as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Get a motion to approve the minutes for December 9th.
Motion to approve the minutes for December 9th?
We don't have them.
You what? We don't?
We didn't get,
Oh, so we don't have the minutes, okay. Well, we will defer that until our next meeting. Okay, in your packet, you'll know that we have a applicant, Andrea Rolfe, who is a former hospital administrator, is applying for the City Hospital Commission.
I move to approve.
Well, you want to wait until next time to talk to her?
This looks pretty good.
I agree, yeah.
I do have a question.
She worked in my hometown.
Is this the only application that we've received for a hospital?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I have talked to some other people, but at this time they were too busy, but she was real interested in applying, so. And she has a good application, I thought.
I think she looks good too, but I'd like to talk to her, just see her motivation.
Our next item is to bring up for vote, it's Ken Trimble for Parks Commission.
I nominate Ken Trimble
Trimble,
for Parks Commission.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we do have a vacancy on the HDC and one on the Planning Commission, so if anybody out there in TV land or in the public is interested in being on one of those two, please come in and get an application.
That's an old agenda. The CAPC positions are supposed to be there.
Oh, okay.
That's an old agenda.
I've got an old agenda. Okay, we're also voting on the CAPC position for City Council. I guess the first thing is, who is interested? Would you raise your hand if you're interested in being on the CAPC? All right, well, I see we have 2 people. We have 2 vacancies. So you want to make a
I make a
motion?
motion we approve David and Steve.
All right, we've got a motion to approve Stephen Holyfield and David Avanzino for the CAPC position. Any discussion? Oh, did I get a second? Need a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All right, Mr. Myers seconded.
I think we-
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Congratulations. Y'all did a great job this last year, by the way. Yeah, it was a difficult year.
Yeah.
So, all right. That leads us up to our public comments. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. So,
my name is Tina Adams, and I am a former employee of ESH. I am here tonight to make sure that the issues with ESH stay in front of your minds, and you all know how important it is to stay diligent on the issues in front of you. Kent Turner was asked to resign at the last meeting and is still on the commission. His actions and performance have said it all, and he needs to go. He acted the same as Barbara Dix, and she was asked to resign. He should be treated no differently. The new IT group that the commission hired does not even know how to work the lab equipment or interfaces. How is that progress and the financial savings? It is funny that ESH is being made to fix and do things that all of us former employees told Cynthia Asbury needed to be done, and she refused. Look at how much money she saved doing it this way. What were the reasons she left her last job? I have heard the hospital is still on divert for trauma because we cannot offer blood. What does this mean? When I was there, we could give emergency release. I believe it is in your best interest to investigate this and not to take Kent's word, since he has lied to you all on many occasions. Like the last time he spoke and said lab was up and running. That was a lie. They were running samples to Mercy in Berryville that night. He also said that the reason that Jody and Cynthia were not at the last meeting was because they were working on the state survey. Again, that was a lie. Their cars were gone from the hospital before the meeting ever started. Are they still doing outpatient surgeries? I heard that Dr. Bell didn't want to come back because ESH lost all the OR staff. I cannot emphasize enough that ESH lost a lot of knowledge and great employees due to 2 people that are still there and still causing staff to quit or want to quit. How can the city continue to get money from the state when they have lost almost all their outpatient services? When will that income stop? Remember, you as city council members have a right to dissolve this commission. It is beyond repair, and it is time to act before all hope is lost. You have all the power to stop this toxic, violent workplace. Per Barbara Dick's comment to Kent Turner, hope we don't end up in a toxic workplace lawsuit. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Liz Collins. I am a registered nurse and the former compliance officer at Eureka Springs Hospital. I am here to do a follow-up on a few items, but first I want to say I hope you had nice holidays, but now we need to get back to business. Mr. Mayor, you did not accept Mr. Turner's resignation at the time the commission was responding to the state survey and developing a plan of correction. That is done. He is no longer chair, and he needs to be removed for his actions, violations, and allowing things to progress to this level. Mr. Mayor, you also stated that the investigation into a lot of allegations. These allegations are on both sides. None of us know. I have suggested that he look at the underlying issue of what's going on. This was in relation to the attorney. I'm asking if that has been followed up on, and if not, if that can be done so. Because that really is where it all began, was with the employee treatment and how things were being handled. That's where this demise began. If this were a court of law, a case for toxic and hostile work environment will be proven beyond reasonable doubt by many current and former employees. This was also acknowledged in an article from former Vice Chair Barbara Dix that stated, and I promise you Tina and I didn't talk about this, just hope we don't end up in a toxic workplace lawsuit. You and I have both known for 1.5 years this S blank blank T is going on. I don't want to lose my assets over this. They can have my ass, but not worth losing assets. And another place, Ms. Dick stated, we just have to weather the storm of Eureka politics. That is what we're going to continue to do. I just hope that you know that the hospital is really not out of the woods. The commission may have presented a plan of correction, policies and plans, but that is paper. The internal operation is still failing. Jody and Cynthia, when you watch this, I please ask you to resign from the hospital for the good of the community. You need to resign and not take it down. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard Webb, and this is my wife, Samantha. We're both former employees of Eureka Springs Hospital. At the last council meeting, we spoke, and I asked you how you all wanted to be remembered as leaders of this community, as leaders who did the right thing and protected the innocent victims and held the guilty accountable, or leaders who ignored the cries of the innocent victims and continued to protect the guilty. Well, I think we have our answer. Mr. Mayor, you blocked Ken Turner's resignation knowing that he had broken numerous laws, and you've done nothing to stop what's going on. So I think at this point, it's obvious that you all plan on doing nothing about any of it. The guilty have either been allowed to simply step down, retire, or even been promoted with no consequences for their actions. And the unlawful actions have been allowed to continue. Two things in closing. I think it's time that for all the past and present employees that were wronged or still being wronged to unite and take action to right all the wrongs, since no one here cares enough to do it. Also, I believe it's time for new community leadership. Just remember, when it all comes crashing down, at least you were all given a choice, which is more than any of us that were done wrong were given. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Charlotte Bonnier.
What was your name? Where do you live again?
Charlotte Bonnier, 257 Curtis Road, Eureka Springs. So the commission didn't go for House's proposal, which I think would have saved the hospital's reputation, because right now that's all it boils down to is reputation. Nobody's going there. People trust him, and like he said, the government isn't going to keep funneling money to Eureka Springs Hospital when we don't have any patients. I mean, right? Doesn't that make sense? Why are they going to keep sending those checks if we don't have any patients? They won't. It's simple. It's so simple. So, I mean, really, there's no point in even saying anything after that, but if it were to stay open, we're definitely on the verge of losing our trauma certification, stroke certification, because there's no clinical leadership. There's nobody there that knows how to keep all that going. Joy was pushed out. She just was actually awarded Facilitator of the Year from Arkansas Stroke, whatever, Society through UAMS. But she's not there anymore. So who's doing all the work that she did? Who's doing it? Yeah, there goes the money for that, too. Where is the money going? What are they doing with the money? Like, really? I feel like that needs to be answered. It's ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing is, it's a silly joke at this point. But yeah, you can't run a hospital without some kind of clinical leadership. You want to do it with a high school grad, and a CFO, an accountant. It's not going to work. It's just silly that you guys think it can work. I don't know if you really think that or if you just, I don't know. I'm at a loss, but good luck.
All right, is there any other public comments? All right, if not, we'll continue on with unfinished business. Get a motion to discuss item number 1, sewer updates.
I believe we discussed sewer updates.
Second?
All right, Susan, you,
Second.
okay, second. Simon, you want to bring us up to date?
Yeah, so our plan is running pretty well actually right now. We're discharging good. Everything's working better than I think it's ever worked since my time here at the city right now. So we're making progress as far as that goes. And aside from that, I really don't have a lot to present. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I do.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Susan.
Were there any leaks with this last winter storm? Everything go good?
Yeah, that was water related. But yeah, we did have water leaks. I mean, we fixed a couple of them. We got one tomorrow that we have emergency locate on to fix. But the crew's been really good about getting out there and getting those taken care of and in a timely manner.
So minor, kind of minor leaks or?
Well, we had recently we had a main that split all the way around it, 8-inch main on Van Buren over by the Matterhorn Hotel. We had a leak up there at the top or the end of Pivot Rock and the intersection of Grand that they fixed. We had one that they fixed over on East Mountain, which was like I think it was like a 3/4 inch line that had a lot of previous repairs. We're looking at replacing that entire line. Come a little bit warmer weather, it's really cold outside, and dealing with the water and stuff. So. My hat's definitely off to those guys because they're really putting themselves out there and getting the stuff done even when the weather's really bad. I appreciate that.
Mr. Meyer?
I know the sludge press is working well because you have to increase your budget to haul off more sludge. Will that level out?
So I spoke with Terry about that a little bit this morning. We are producing a lot of sludge, a lot more than we have ever. Previously we were filling up a dumpster probably once a month maybe at the most, and now we're doing it within a few days. So every time I have a dumpster hauled off, it's over $2,000. So previously they budgeted $5,000. I think that maybe that was. Let me correct what I'm saying here. We didn't have a separate line item for hauling sludge until this year. So, we're just trying to figure out what that is. But if we continue processing sludge at the rate we're doing it, we're probably going to be at $100,000 easy, just sludge disposal.
I noticed that E. coli levels are still kind of high going out into the creek. Mm-hmm. Is that because of the SBRs being full of crud and they can't really separate? Or
no, our SBRs are actually running perfect right now.
Cool.
And our levels are, we have the SBRs drawn down pretty low right now because we know that they're on this next agenda item that we have with the funding, that there's a possibility that money is going to come from the ANRC. Yeah, ANRC. Pretty soon, and we might have to draw those down for a clean out pretty quick. So
cool.
we have them pretty low right now. Yes,
Mr. McClung?
A couple of things. One is that basically an update from, on the engineering firm and where we are there. That's one, if you could answer that first.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, I talked with Zane this afternoon, and we're trying to keep the rates as low as possible, so we're doing a little bit more research about what we can do and what things cost as far as our infrastructure goes, because one thing that we failed at is planning for depreciation of our assets. So we're trying to go through and try to figure out what we can fix now versus later, and trying to come up with the annual number that we could plan on having for capital improvements to replacing these old asset items that we have, such as water lines, sewer lines, et cetera. I'll give you an example, like the 23 South Pump Station needs some upgrades to it. It hasn't been touched really since the 70s when it was built. You know, we need to get in there and replace the double check valve. We need to have it repainted before it rusts to the point where it's not repairable anymore. There was some bad procedures in a pump install that was done out there. Instead of putting in the right thing, they kind of modified a plate and shifted the pump over. But we're looking at all these numbers and trying to figure out what we can do, what years to create a lower bill for people. Because we could go out there and say we could fix the world in 1 year, and Jack here would bill up as high as possible, but we're trying to avoid that. We're looking at the earliest of possibly having something to you at the end of February.
Okay, that's not too far off, so hopefully you'll have that for us so we can start making some decisions and moving forward. My second question is more water, well, it can be sewer related as well. Whenever there's a breakage and you have to shut water off, what's the protocols for?
Yeah, that's a great question.
For notification of residents and businesses.
Yeah. I received a call. We had that break that happened over on Van Buren Street, and I received a call that said that we needed to plan our emergency breaks a little bit better. There's no planning. If we have an emergency break, we got to fix it. So it's either shut down the water and fix it, or people are without water and we do a boil order. So, you know.
Well, if you've got a break on Friday and you know about it and you don't fix it till Monday but don't notify anybody, is that
I get what you're
considered
saying.
An emergency, or is that?
So that break in particular
time
wasn't
to notify people.
Yeah, that break was not to that point on Friday. It got worse, and it was monitored over the weekend, and it was okay. It wasn't to the point where we're going to have to do an emergency shutdown on it, and it got worse, and we had to do an emergency shutdown on it. It just had to happen. I mean, as upset as people were, or a single person was about it, there's not a whole lot I can do. When there's an emergency break like that, that's going to cause water pressure issues, and throughout the city, I've got to shut the water down.
Well, there ought to be some method to notify people when that's going to happen. I mean, it puts people in a bind, businesses especially, that,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's people in their motel rooms needing to shower, or, you know, hair care businesses, anything.
I would definitely be open to figuring out how we can have emergencies that arise or we can notify people. I mean, it's like a house fire. You got a house, well, hold on, time out, let me get my stuff out of there first. We can't just shut it down. You know, we got to get on it. So there's not a whole lot of, you know, it's unfortunate, but it's just reality.
I think there's a way to look at that and come up with something. I really
Mr.
do.
McClung, I will say, with the exception of extreme emergencies, Simon and I have come up with a procedure when the water is going to be turned off to be notified, when we know in advance that it's going to be shut down for any length of time. You know, like if any of the Ozarks was going to go without water, we'd certainly notify them and then try to work around, depending on how long it's going to take. Certainly not try to shut it down right at lunchtime, but make it more at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If it's going to be any extended period of time, we'd go around with door hangers and let people know at that time. But like Simon said, with emergencies that come up or something, sometimes it just happens. You know, it's not good, but we still need to notify people that it's happening.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, it just seems to me when you got a leak on Friday and you fix it Monday, and I understand it got worse, but you know it's going to have to be addressed. And, you know,
So when we
I
have
think
an emergency situation that pops up like that, we have to wait an hour for the emergency to locate. That's the amount of time we have before we can start digging. So when they did that, when that happened, they called in emergency locate that morning. We had 1 hour to prep all our equipment and get out there on site and fix it. If I didn't fix that morning, we would have been under a boil order.
I understand that. I understand that. But if you've got an hour, one person can hang a lot of tags on doors in an hour in that immediate neighborhood. You know, there's something. There's something. It's just it puts people under duress. It really does.
Well, they do a really good job of notifying people on Facebook and all the social media sites. That's how I find out about what's going on. And I saw the one.
Not
that said-
everyone has access to that.
I agree, but I think they're doing what they can with what they have to notify people, other than a blast, text message or whatever. They do the best with what they've got.
Yeah,
Get it
well,
done.
I'm not saying that they're not doing a good job, but it can be done better.
Yeah, well, and that's something we
Everybody
need to
can
work
do
on.
I did have a question about, you mentioned the amount of sludge that we're producing all of a sudden. What's the reason for that?
It's a great question, and I'm not really sure why. So there's a lot of chemistry and microbiology that's associated with that. We add chemicals to that inflow in that sewer plant that causes flocculation to occur, so our settles kind of fall out. There could be a possibility where we're overfeeding the alum or caustic in that situation. What is unfortunate about that whole situation is that we have no way to really monitor the pumps that we use. They're not like they're not like smart pumps, if you will. They kind of just feed, and what it does is what it does. It doesn't matter what the flow coming into the plant is; it feeds the same amount, and that will sometimes cause excessive sludge. And then another one of the issues is probably because we were not discharging a lot of sludge out of the SBRs during that sludge basin repair that was happening, because we didn't have storage to be able to process it. We did discharge sludge, of course, and process that sludge, but we couldn't discharge to the point where we needed to because we didn't have the capacity to do that. Now that the basin's back online, we have adequate capacity, and we've drawn those SBRs down. Long term, why we're not adjusting the budget numbers right now is because long term, I don't know what that effect's going to be. All I can say is December, this is what we spend on sludge disposal. I don't know what's going to happen in January. It might slow down. It might not. It's to the point right now where we're dumping a dump truck load twice a day, which is a lot. So our press is running like it's supposed to be running. I mean, it's really beautiful. I mean, the way it's working so well out there right now. But we do have days where we have less sludge production, where I told them just shut the press down, let the sludge build up in that basin. We have to kind of toe that line a little bit, to make sure we have all the little microorganisms and things doing their thing in there. So we're still kind of playing with a little bit of that, and that's why we want to hold off to the mid-year adjustment to adjust that sludge disposal line item.
Mr. Meyer?
Well, before you had the sludge press fixed, there was no way to get sludge out, so you probably got to build up a sludge in the SBRs.
I think what was also happening was the sludge was going back into the SBRs because the sludge press wasn't working right, and it was recycling it back into the SBRs, and it was breaking down to the point where it would eventually discharge out into the creek as a really, really fine particle, where it's still coming out clear. But I don't know.
So I'm just curious, because I know nothing about this shit, but anyway.
Literally.
Pun intended. Are there other ways of processing the sludge? Does it have to be hauled off, or are there other ways to deal with it?
So that's a great question. We did have the compost facility where we can haul the sludge to the compost facility and turn it into compost. What the Department of Environmental Quality wants is they want us to have a large enough compost facility to store 6 months worth of sludge, which would mean our compost facility would have to increase probably tenfold size-wise. We don't have the room for that because of the topography of this area. So we have not renewed that compost permit because we can't, because we don't have the adequate capacity to have a compost facility. But as far as that goes, there's ways where you can essentially cook the sludge, dehydrate it with heat. The mayor and we went to Fayetteville. Wasn't that Fayetteville we went to? Springdale.
Huntsville.
They have
Springdale.
a huge facility where they dehydrate it and they heat it up 400 degrees, and it comes out almost like brown fluffy Cheetos, if you will, and it's completely safe to land apply it and stuff like that. But the state is really getting away from land apply it raw sludge because of the bacteriological aspect of it. You know, the harmful bacteria that's in that sludge, we can't land apply it because it could get into the creeks and cause all kinds of different issues. So we have to halt.
Would it be worth it to, I guess, pump the 10% into what we currently have as far as letting it compost, or is that just a waste of?
So we can't compost right now legally with the state of Arkansas.
Okay.
We have to have 6 months worth of storage capacity. So 50% of our annual production of sludge has to go to that. We don't have that much.
Okay.
We don't have that much covered area over there to do that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And once it's composted, you can't put it on the land, so where does it go?
We can land apply it actually once it's composted because it's safe at that
Okay.
point. So through that compost process, it heats up and it kills the pathogens that are in that compost and makes it safe to land apply.
How many acres do you need?
We have the land to land apply. I mean, that's not the issue. The issue is we don't have enough covering for a compost facility to store the capacity of sludge for 6 months coming out of that plant.
Covering capacity.
Yeah, that lean-to that's out there that we put they used to make the sludge under.
So it's got to be under roof.
Yeah, but also we don't have enough yard debris that comes in to process that sludge into
Enough
compost.
what?
Yard debris.
Yard debris.
Yeah. We got to have quite a bit of yard debris for 6 months worth of sludge. I mean, that's a lot of sludge.
I think you could get to yard debris. Everybody's always looking for a place to dump that around here.
Well,
There's no place to go.
take the yard debris. I mean, we accept it. We just don't get enough to process 6 months worth of sludge.
Huh.
Our compost facility's open every Wednesday. So, I mean, people at Eureka Springs can always bring their yard waste down on Wednesday.
Are we charging them to dump it?
No, it's free of charge.
Okay.
Susan?
Getting back to Zane's report, when do you think that's going to come?
At the soonest, it'll be the end of February.
February.
Yep.
All right. Well, that kind of leads us into the, I guess, financing verification of the sewer plant.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Okay. I think Simon kind of mentioned a little bit. I talked to engineers today, and it looked like roughly in probably about a month, we're going to try to hold a workshop for the council and for the public to go over the plans and to let everybody know where we're at right now. There's still some design work that they're doing, some decisions have to be made to come up with some, and they're talking with some contractors, trying to come up with some cost analysis also on that. But hopefully in about a month, we'll be able to hold a workshop for this specifically on the design and where the plant's going on there. And Simon, you got?
Yeah, so on Wednesday morning, ANRC is having the Arkansas Department of Natural Resource Commission. They're going to have a meeting regarding this funding application for that $6 million loan for the sewer plant rehab. As far as I know, it is on the agenda this time, so I think it'll go through, but we'll have to wait to see what happens on Wednesday. So that's coming up pretty quick. Once I find out, I could post it, like, hey, we got this on our Facebook page, let the public know. I mean, I don't see any harm in doing that.
Yeah.
But
Are you all attending?
virtually, yes.
Pardon me?
Virtually. We're not-
virtually.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we did last time, thank goodness.
Okay.
So they go through, I don't know, 50, quite a few applications.
Quite a few, yeah.
50 to 100 applications.
Don't doubt it.
We listened to them all last time, and then Eureka never happened, and it was like, what's going on here?
It's happened to me going down there.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you, Simon, very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, get a motion to discuss item number 3, ordinance vacating section of Carroll Street.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right, we're on our third reading for the ordinance vacating a portion of Carroll Street between Block 221 and Block 195 of the Riley Armstrong. Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 2365 for its third and final reading by title only.
Second?
Second.
All right, Mr. McClung made the motion and Mr. Ambrosino seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Susan Gerning.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2365, an ordinance vacating a portion of Carroll Street between Block 221 and Blocks 195 and 194 of the Riley and Armstrong survey.
Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2365 on its third reading.
Second.
All right, Mr. McClung made the motion, Mr. Myers seconded to approve it on third and final reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Susan Gerning,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you all. All right, that brings us up to our next item, which is ordinance amending the Eureka Springs Municipal Code, Chapter 4 for peddlers and solicitors.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right, Mr. McClung made the motion. Well, we haven't made a motion yet, just a discussion. Is this our first reading?
Yes, we haven't
Okay.
read it yet.
Mr. McClung?
Do you want to, I don't know that we need an explanation on this. Is there?
Go ahead. I'll let the city clerk, she's discovered the incongruity of this.
So originally, we had not been allowing home solicitation, but it's something that is an exemption in our code, and legally we have to let them home solicit. I talked to other cities about this. Charging a fee deters fraudulent home solicitation because they have to provide their ID, they have to provide money. It discourages people from doing unlawful solicitation practices. So that's why I had brought this up.
Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion we assign this ordinance a number and read it for passage. Its first
Second.
reading.
I just have a quick question, Mayor.
Sure.
This does not pertain to artists or buskers or anything like that, does it? Okay, I just want to make that
Fuller
clear.
brush man.
Full of
Fuller
Kirby
brush.
salesmen.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Magazine sales. Yep. All right, any further discussion? All right, Mr. McClung made the motion and Mr. Myers seconded. No further discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved.
Signing ordinance number 2368, an ordinance amending Eureka Springs Municipal Code, Chapter 4.48, peddlers and solicitors. Whereas currently peddling is prohibited by Eureka Springs Municipal Code, Chapter 4.48.020, whereas the ACA, Chapter 4.89.102, definition of home solicitation sale means a cash sale or consumer credit sale of goods other than insurance or services in which the seller or person acting for him or her engages in a personal solicitation of the sale at other than appropriate trade premises in an amount more than $25, whereas peddlers and solicitors need to be regulated and licensed if their sales are over the amount of $25. Now therefore be it hereby ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Section 1, Eureka Springs Municipal Code, Chapter 4.48.040 is hereby amended to home solicitors must pay a $75 registration fee. Section 2, there is a 3-month expiration of the registration Section 3, the owner or representative of the entity that is home soliciting requesting a registration is to provide a valid government-issued identification in order to obtain the registration.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance 2368 on its first reading.
Second.
One more question, sorry. Not that I've ever seen it done by our school system, but do they do door-to-door stuff? Because I didn't notice any exclusion of them.
There's an exclusion, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's an exclusion in the code for charities, nonprofits, things like that. In the
And the school
municipal
system.
code.
And the school system. I just want to make sure that we're not putting any, not that they would, but I don't think the
No,
chief
it excludes fundraising.
Yeah, doesn't exclude the Boy Scouts.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. No, valid.
All right, any other comments, discussion? All right, Mr. McClung made the motion, Mr. Myers seconded to approve ordinance 2368 on its first reading. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Y'all want to do this a second reading?
Nah.
All right, well, hold on, next time. All right, the next item comes up to our annual procedure. So the first item is, item number 1 is the rules of procedures. Get a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Second.
All right. In the past, actually last year, maybe the year before, but certainly last year, we decided to go ahead and use the Arkansas Municipal League's published recommended procedural rules for municipal offices. Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and adopt these procedures, rules for municipal offices as provided by Municipal League.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Second item is, get some motion to discuss meeting dates for 2025.
Motion to discuss meeting dates for 2025.
Second.
All right, normally, we just keep on meeting the second and fourth Mondays of the month, and then we decide on Thanksgiving and Christmas when that comes around in September usually. So it's up to the council. Get a motion to approve the second and fourth Mondays?
Motion to approve second and fourth Mondays.
Second.
All right. Mr. Greening made the motion to approve the second and fourth Mondays. Mr. Holyfield seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our next item is Mayor Pro Tem for 2025. Motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right, I think Mr. McClung's been the Mayor Pro Tem here. It's up to the council who you want to nominate.
Why not?
Mayor Pro Tem is who sits in and acts as chair when I'm not here.
I nominate Mr. McClung.
I nominate Mr. Hollifield.
Mr. who?
Hollifield.
Okay.
The first motion doesn't have a second.
Yeah, we need a second.
Oh, yeah.
Either one of them. Let's go back to Mr. McClung, get a motion. Mr. Meyer made a motion to nominate Mr. McClung for Mayor Pro Tem. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Now then you had another, you want to nominate Mr. Holyfield? All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We can do this by show of hands or we can do it by ballot, either way, whatever y'all want to do.
Do voice vote?
We can do a voice vote, yeah. Let's say all those in favor, can try the voice vote, see how this works. All those in favor of Mr. McClung for Mayor Pro Tem, raise your hand. All right, okay, I have two. All those in favor of Mr. Holyfield, Mayor Pro Tem, raise your hand. I have three, all right, looks like Mr.
Do you give an aye?
Huh?
Do you give an aye?
It's just, I think on that one, yeah, I'll vote aye.
Okay.
So, all right, Mr. Holyfield, looks like you're it. All right, our next item is, need motion to discuss the declaration of city council vacancy for seat Ward 1, position Ward.
Move we discuss.
Second.
All right. As you know, Michael Walsh had ran and was elected this position, and then he decided to, after winning the election, decided to resign and not accept the nomination. So we have a vacancy, and the council needs to declare that there is a vacancy so we can nominate people next time. So need a motion to declare a vacancy.
I move we declare the vacancy of Ward 1, Position 1.
Second.
All right, Mr. Holyfield made the motion, Ms. Gruning seconded to declare vacancy in seat 1, position 1, Ward 1. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Just point of information, we will be accepting written applications from interested citizens to the clerk's office, and then the clerk will distribute those to the council. And we will have those,
Ready at the next meeting.
yeah, set them up, look at them next meeting if we get them in time. You want to have that in the next, need the applications within the next week?
Last time we did.
We did 2 weeks.
We did 3 meetings total. We declared, and then applications were given at the next meeting, and then we voted on the third meeting.
Let's
Makes
go
sense.
ahead and have the application due by the next council meeting. And then that way we can distribute them to the council. And then following council meeting, we can make an application or nomination and elect a new council member. All right?
Just a reminder, the person has to live in Ward 1, so, right.
Correct. And they have to be a resident of Ward 1. All right. Okay, that takes care of that. Next item of business is a resolution for, actually, it's just for discussion of the resolution for sale of property. Get a motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss?
Second.
Where's this at? It's on Mill Hollow.
It's on Mill Hollow. There's a map in there. What happened is the gentleman that owns a piece of property is wanting to build a house, and he's wanting to buy some property from an adjoining property owner, and the property, it doesn't show up real well,
No.
unfortunately.
Oh,
I don't know if you all know where Brad Hill lives. Brad is the first house past, used to be Cafe Santa Fe.
I have a
on the
colored
right.
version if you guys want to look.
The what?
I have a color version.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the left or the right?
It's on the right.
It's on the right.
It's on the right. Brad lives the house on the right, and it's the next piece of property on upstream. It's owned by the city.
How big a lot is it? Oh, you got color.
So
Point
you're,
two
you're
acres.
saying that this is going northeast, I guess?
North is to the top, basically. Well, no, you're right, northeast. North is kind of,
Right side of the road.
yeah.
That puts it on the left side.
As you're going up the road, it's to the right. Going up Mill
Got to be
Hollow.
that way,
Oh.
which doesn't make sense because everything's upside down, but.
Yeah, see, there's Brush Street over here. So that's definitely on the right.
Mr. McClung?
For us to sell, we have to put it up, we have to get an appraisal.
We can do whatever we want to do.
We can't. I thought we were under specific guidelines that it had to be up for appraisal and then up for auction.
We have in the past, but we've also accepted a high bid, accepted a price. It's up to the council what they want to do. We can get an appraisal, and we can put it up, see if he wants to give us that much money, or somebody wants to give us that, or we can submit a high bid by auction, you might say, silent bids, and open them up.
I like the idea of getting an appraisal, but then putting it out to bid.
I mean, if
So
get
we
it-
know what it's worth.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's up to the council. Mr. McClung?
An appraisal can be expensive. So, I mean, you'd have to build that into the price, maybe. I don't know that that's necessarily the right way to go. I think you're sure we can go ahead and just sell direct to someone without
done it.
Mr. City Attorney?
I would have to research this one.
Okay. I think what we can do is we can accept bids
Yes,
on it.
yes, and then decide whether we want to accept that bid or not.
Exactly.
The high bid.
We don't have to accept any bid, right?
But-
We
That's
don't
correct,
have to
too.
accept any.
Right, okay.
It's up to council if you want to go that route as opposed to,
I have another question. I just assume that Public Works or there's not any benefit to the city to retain this property.
now, it's pretty much it's not quite landlocked, but it's pretty much landlocked. Weren't even aware, it's one of those things, we weren't even aware that we owned the property.
It's right on Mill Hollow Road,
Yep.
so I wouldn't consider it landlocked.
I think it's pretty steep.
Well, not landlocked, but surrounded by other properties. So the city doesn't have any interest in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Public Works has gone through it, and they don't have any problem with it. In fact, Public Works is the one who said,
Yeah, I saw.
what do we want to do? How do we want to do this?
Quick question.
Ms. Gurney?
Okay, so I think you answered that because it's surrounded by other personal properties, there's really not a lot we can do with it. Is the person interested, like neighboring to that property?
He's building a house, and he's buying some property that adjoins to it. And
I
part
get
of
that.
his plan, he would like to encroach into that property as for his house.
I'm not trying to sound greedy, but it's tax money if we sell it. Because right now, we're benefiting really nothing from it, right? Did you hear me, Terry?
No, would you?
So I said, if we're not benefiting by holding on to it for any particular reason, and we sell it to somebody, then at least it becomes something for the city to benefit in the long run because they're paying taxes on it.
Oh, yeah, I have no problem with selling it at all. I just think we have to,
Fair value.
to be fair, well, the fair value, that will establish itself, you know, whether we decide we want to take that or not. We will decide fair value by the offers made, but I think it has to be, or it should be, put out for bid.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, we can advertise in the paper that.
Yeah,
the
that
property's
I think's what-
bid, and let them know what's the list
No.
price, and then bring it back to the council in a month,
Okay?
if that's what the council wants to do, as opposed to getting an appraisal and putting it on the market like that. Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion and we go ahead and
I have a question.
approve.
So, but before we do that, Forrest is going to confirm that what we're doing is legit, right? Taking bids or whatever?
Well, I think I can understand where this property is, and if somebody wants to build there, more power to them. It's not of any value to the city, okay?
I get that, but I mean, we're not doing anything out of legal terms, right?
The city can put it up for bid. They don't have to have it appraised. And we've done this before. And if we don't like
The bid.
what the bid is, we can reject it and either have it appraised and then put it up for bid again, I think that's the procedure. We've sold other property along Main Street, around the corner, as it were. We did the same thing. We had an appraisal on that, and the bids were not what the appraisal said, but
That's right, we did have an appraisal.
yeah, we did have an appraisal there.
Okay.
I can tell you that, again, we're lucky to get any money out of that property. The creek goes by, you have a very small area that's flat, and then you got a cliff line. Good luck, okay? If we can get money out of it, I say take the money and run.
All right, I think Mr. McClung had a motion.
Yeah, a motion that we go ahead and
I'll second that.
advertise it and put it out for bid.
Okay. All right, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
One other thing, it's the legal description, we don't have a survey on it. And
We do.
we do have a survey.
I went ahead and had it surveyed, so we know exactly what we got.
So that's what this is here.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay. 2/10 of an acre, part lot 4. Okay.
correct.
Making sure that's what that is.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I felt that no matter what happened, we need to have it surveyed. If we're going to sell it, we're going to need the legal description anyway. So, yeah. All right, got a motion and to put it out to solicit bids, advertise for bids, and got a second by Mr. Meyer, I believe. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So moved. All right, get a motion to discuss permanent entertainment district.
I move we discuss the permanent entertainment district.
Second.
All right. Who wants to lead off? Ms. Greening?
Yes, so at our last meeting, I was confused about this word in the ordinance, abeyance. And so are we still operating an entertainment district?
Yes.
Okay. I saw your email, but I still didn't understand it.
Can I hear the attorney's basis for that? Because it is a little confusing. And why you think we're okay.
I can read language of an email that I sent out this weekend that might help you with that.
Okay.
With your permission. Can I read that?
Yes.
Okay. We've had a lot of people working on this and input, trying to get what's right. Here's my opinion. State law 14-914 says it's initiative and referendum generally. D1, general ordinance. A referendum petition on a general ordinance, which is what the permanent entertainment district is, or any part of, shall delay the effective date on that part included in the petition until the ordinance is ratified by the electors. If you put an abeyance just on a referendum petition, it'd be the cart before the horse. You can't restrict it before there's actually a legal reason to do so. Now, if you send it to the voters and the voters wish to restrict it, yes, no problem. But you just can't file an initiated thing and it takes effect immediately. I can give you examples of that. For example, if somebody filed an initiated petition to stop all collections of parking meters, well, if you say that we have to have an abeyance of parking meter collections just because they filed it, that's ridiculous. The city would be out buku bucks. You can ask for something, but it's up to the voters to decide whether or not that should take effect. Okay, the key words are shall delay the effective date on that part included in the petition. Please note the language says on the part included in the petition, not the ordinance. And so whatever the relief is held, the relief is held in abeyance until the vote of the people. Once the vote of the people is held, then whatever they decide, that is what we should do. I went on later to say this. I just quoted from 914, which is on this area. I say it is not written properly. If the purpose of the statute was to provide an automatic abeyance, it would so state. It does not. It doesn't say, oh, you file a petition, we automatically have an abeyance. It doesn't say that. If they had intended to do so, they would have said so. It's ambiguous at best. I suggest that the intent is not to place an abeyance on a current ordinance, but an abeyance of the relief sought. Now that makes perfect sense. To place an abeyance on an ordinance without any practical reason or emergency is a terrible burden to place on a city. In other words, we can file any ordinance, any initiated petition can be out there, but until it is ratified or accepted by the people, no action is really taken. Now, this is a general ordinance. This is not a special election ordinance.
Okay.
We do not have a special election here. We have no emergencies. We have no criteria that meet special elections. We're referencing a general referendum. Anyone can file one, but we take no action on that until it is ratified by the people.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's the only way it can be. Does anyone have any questions on any of this? No, the Pine Mountain Permanent Entertainment District will be there until the council revokes it, it gets sunsetted out, or there's a vote on it in November of 2026, which is the next regular general election.
And it'll sunset right about that same time,
Actually, right before, right? Yeah.
right before. But if there's no issues, we can vote to
Can
continue
you
it.
speak
and
into
then
the
the
microphone a
election.
little bit? Speak in the microphone.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to follow his email. So what I was saying is it'll sunset right before it. If there are no issues, we can vote to continue it. And then at that point, we have an election right after, and that'll determine yay or nay.
Again, the city council has complete control of ordinances, temporary entertainment, permanent entertainment. If there's a problem, y'all get to deal with it, and accordingly. Under the current ordinance for the permanent, it sunsets out before the election. So if you choose to renew it, then it would be on the ballot. If you choose to kill it, then there's nothing to be done with. In the meantime, even though a initiated referendum was held on the downtown permanent entertainment district, and it was voted down by the people. So we no longer have a permanent entertainment district downtown. However, that doesn't stop the city from having temporary entertainment districts, which we continue to have downtown, which are successful, which do work well. So again, even if the citizens and the voters of the city voted down the permanent entertainment district at Pine Mountain Village, it doesn't stop the city council from passing temporary.
Correct. Mayor?
Ms. Groening?
I just want to make it crystal clear that what happened downtown, with that being voted down by the people, that does not mean that the entertainment districts are banned from Eureka Springs, because I had a citizen approach me saying, well, how can we do it? It's banned. And I said, no entertainment district is banned, just that area was voted down, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
If somebody wanted to put a permanent entertainment district, say at Leatherwood Park, and y'all passed it, it's not prevented because downtown was voted down. Downtown getting voted down does not stop a permanent entertainment district at Pine Mountain Village.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's just the area downtown.
So you
Described
can,
by that district.
Defined by that district. It's described, in an area and everything else. Now, we've had temporaries in that area, but it's not a permanent. The signs are not up all the
but
time.
it's not banned from being a permanent in the future, though, is it?
Actually, it's just a 2-year temporary, so it's not even a permanent.
Well, yeah, again,
I'm just trying to, I guess, make a point that nothing is really banned. This council still has the right to vote for something?
the only thing that's banned is a permanent entertainment district in the downtown area as
Okay.
we define. That's the only thing that's banned.
Okay, but nowhere else?
If it was redefined downtown, then it would, that's subject to another ordinance.
Change boundaries.
Yeah, if we change the boundaries or add it or subtract it or something,
Okay.
it would theoretically be a new one, and we would go through the process again if we were asked to do so.
Yeah, because this, when you say banned, it sounds like never again can you do anything in Eureka Springs.
The city council passed a permanent downtown entertainment district. It went to, initiated petition was filed. 9 months later, it went to vote. It was voted down. So whatever that district was and those things. Now, you're really cutting it fine if you say, okay, we're going to cut off a block here, or we're going to add a block here.
I'm not saying that we will. I just wanted to make this person I was having the conversation with that there's really nothing banned. Like we can still have an entertainment district at Pine Mountain or at Lake Leatherwood or down on Main Street or something, but it is up to the council. And if something is petitioned, like Pine Mountain was, then you deal with that as it comes.
Yeah, permanent is the only word used for the downtown. We're having temporaries there. We've had numerous temporaries at Pine Mountain. Now we're trying to do a permanent. If it goes down, we can do temporaries like we have been doing.
Right.
That's all.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Anybody else? Any further questions, comments? All right. If not, we'll get into agenda setting. Anybody got anything right off the top?
I would like to put on our next meeting's agenda, at least, like the people said earlier today, we need to keep the hospital issue front and center.
Yes.
It's really frustrating because I feel like I've got one side of the story, and that's from former employees, but I have nothing to go on from the other side of the story, if you will. It's very frustrating to be able to answer.
Now, do you want to put the agenda on for having the hospital commission?
Yes, and I'm not quite sure, because we have a new chair.
We have a new chairperson.
Okay.
Can we get an update?
Yeah, we can get an update. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anything
I'd,
else?
I'd like Dr. House to
I was word
Same.
vomiting.
In fact, I had called Ida to put that on the agenda, and even though it was on the agenda, we didn't talk much about what the people wanted to hear, the ex-employees.
All we're doing right now is talking about putting it on the agenda. We don't need to discuss it.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Sorry about
it's
that.
agenda
Yes.
setting.
Hospital commission chair
Yeah.
at the next meeting.
Update.
And I'd like Dr. House to come, if he can. And
Well,
I want to vote on hospital commissioners. I asked the man to resign, and he said he would, and then he didn't resign. And he obviously lied to us.
we're on agenda right now. What would you want Dr. House to be here?
Yes, I do.
He's a private citizen. I really don't have any authority to make him appear. I don't have any authority to make
Ask him
Dr. House.
if he would. Yes. Of course, he doesn't have to.
Is there a reason for Dr. House? I mean,
Yes, he was rejected by the
No,
by the
he wasn't
commission. He
rejected.
wants to help the city. I want to know why.
he was not rejected. I'm not sure what you want Mr. House on the agenda for.
See if he's got answers for our hospital problem. He's offered to take over. He's offered to help.
he is still dealing and talking with the hospital commission. He is not,
That's fine.
I mean, I don't see, I'm just trying to say, we have somebody coming up on the agenda.
Just real quick, just hopefully all of that'll come out when we have this discussion with the commissioner, because we'll be able to ask questions then, when that commissioner, when the big cheese is here.
No, I agree. Okay.
I think it's,
Anything else?
I've done a mistake.
All right. City Council's comments. Mr. Green.
It's just been a quiet 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to municipally coming up here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But other than after the holiday here and having a great new year and the downtown party and everything, it's been rather quiet for me.
Mr. Holyfield.
Well, we're snowed in Friday. I think the city did a great job clearing the streets as fast as they could. I enjoyed staying home for the day and watching the nice weather outside. I do encourage people when they do, when things like that happen, if you don't have to go somewhere, stay home. Don't get out there and add to the accidents and everything else. I saw a man laying down on the street on Saturday, fell down, hurt himself pretty bad. So stay home if you can. Also, I heard a tip. If your power ever goes out and it comes back on, please turn on your porch light. That tells the power company your power's back on. I've not heard that before, but that's a great tip to pass on. CAPC, next meeting is scheduled for next Wednesday, the 22nd at 6 p.m. That meeting may be changed. I'm going to be out of town, but we'll see. I'd like to hope everybody had a happy new year. That's it.
Mr. Avanzino.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to the CAPC and the staff for the New Year's Eve celebration again. I think that was fantastic. I think we got a lot of notoriety out of it, and hopefully it's something that continues year after year. Also, a special thanks to Eureka Springs Fire Department. We recently had a small house fire. Never thought it would happen my entire life, but it did. And they came out and did what they did very professionally, minimal damage, but yeah, thanks to them.
Mr. Myers.
In 2019, the CAPC hired Paradise, the ad agency, and in 2020, even with COVID, tourism boomed. I mean, beyond all expectations. And every year since then, there's been growth in tourism until the first 9 months of this year. Now, there's lots of things that people are talking about that might happen, but we lost Paradise at the beginning of the year, and I understand Paradise was pushed pretty hard. When we got sued, it really screwed up continuity at the CAPC. I mean, I can remember when you couldn't get anybody to join that commission. And when that happened, the ad agency just backed off because every week it was someone new that communicated with them. So now we got to rebuild. I don't think the members here are responsible. I think that it's just an accumulation of, the whistleblowers that had no whistle to blow, and the lawsuit. I mean, Lonnie Clark and the mayor are even included in this, and we're not even over with that lawsuit. It's absurd. And there's some things that happened that I can't talk about because we're not done with the lawsuit. But there were things that were done by the staff that brought on the lawsuit that was pretty illegal, and I won't tell you who told them to do that sort of stuff. But that's my take on this.
Mr. McCoy?
Yeah, I just want everybody to be to be of the understanding that, you know, with the hospital problems, the sewer problems, the water lines, you know, infrastructure and all that that we're going through. I mean, we're not going through anything different than what other towns have gone through, and we'll work through all of it. You know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We're just not there on any of it. But that is the intention of this council, is to, you know, to follow through with these things, and we certainly want to do what's right by the citizens first and foremost. And so, you know, we can only do what we can do with the information we get. And so, and that's with all of it, hospital and the infrastructure. So unfortunately, nothing happens quickly, it's slowly. And so be patient with us, and we'll do our darndest. Happy New Year.
Can I add one more thing, Mayor? Sorry.
Okay.
I want to thank Terry for all of his years of service as Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm not done yet.
I know you're not.
Well, a couple of items, and I guess follow up on Terry's. I don't think anyone, especially with the city council, present city council or past city council, has always tried to do the best they could for the city. I think and the citizens out there, I think all want the best for the city, and we certainly do. And for us, we tried to listen to both sides and try to work through these issues. And if you've been here for any length of time, we've always had issues that have come up. And some of them are scary. Some of them, when I first came in 10 years ago, we were almost bankrupt as a city. And because of the city council and finance director, we were able to come back out and end up in the employees, who are the main people that keep this town together, didn't get a raise for several years, and allowed us to tighten our belts. And by the end of the year, we were up. And then, as was mentioned, when COVID hit, that first year, that first month, 45% down in taxes. And I can remember sitting in the courtroom with a council member and going through arguments. What are we going to do? Well, the only thing we could do was cut. And who are we going to cut? Fire or police? Because that was it, or public works. And thank goodness, within 2 weeks, but because of our bookkeeping and the state not letting us know how much money we're getting back, we didn't know until later. But we started up on the upward trend. And like mentioned, we've been going upward ever since. And this last year, I think we finished up not quite 4% over budget. And so every year we've been over budget since 2020. And that's remarkable. And that's saying a lot for the citizens and for our employees. CAPC has gone through a lot of turmoil, but they've also come up, and I'm so excited because it was a combination of citizens and the CAPC, the parks. It took a whole group to come up with this New Year's Eve celebration. And if you weren't at New Year's Eve, you missed something. That was one of the most incredible experiences I had seen in this town in a long time. The Basin Park was packed. The streets were packed. Entertainment was good. It was nonstop. And it was just an exciting time to be in Eureka. And I think our visitors felt the same way. I saw a lot of locals, but I saw a lot of people I didn't know before. And it was a family affair. I had my 9-year-old grandson there, and I saw other children there. And so the entertainment district didn't disturb it, and it worked out. So I was real excited to see that. On another note, 2 years ago, when our legislative session, legislators were in session, we had to go in and we had to look at short-term lodging. Well, I've been told again by Senator King that the short-term lodging issue is going to be coming up again. So be ready. And I would suggest everybody that's listening to go ahead and contact our state representative, Harlan Breaux, and also Senator King, although Senator King's a supporter of us. It's important for the cities to have what we call home rule. And that means that the cities control their own destinies instead of letting the state control our destiny. If other cities, Bella Vista wants to have a short-term leave, a ban on short-term rentals, that's fine. In Eureka Springs, that's what we want. I should say Bella Vista wants not to have a ban. But it should be up to the cities to have local control. And we see this more and more with the state legislators taking the control away from the cities. And it's frustrating what we can do and what we can't do. But be prepared to start fighting again on the short-term lodging issues. But in the meantime, it's January, it's a quiet time of year. There's not a lot of events and activities going on. But we are happy to welcome the Ozark Mountain Music Festival for their 11th season, and that's coming up here January 16th through the 19th in downtown Eureka. All the performances are going to be located in the historic Basin Park Hotel, and this year is going to be even better than the last 10 years, supposedly. And that's always a good event. So if you're interested in folk music and a good time to get away from other communities, Eureka is a good place to be. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Stand up and leave.